episode 21 of Wingman. Is this episode 21, Michael? Oh, that's right. He's muted this week.
Mike has
we
no
got
sound.
The muted Morlan.
We'll ask him lots of questions.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Is this the first time you shot anybody, Michael? That's a good look. How long has the parking tickets been unpaid?
What are we doing here again?
I don't know. If you're new to the show, this is not really what it's about, but I just realized it's an inside look at Descent Underground, the rebooting of that classic franchise Descent. And this is Rob, ds21 Irving. I am Eric Wingman Peterson, and we're kind of giving you an inside look at what goes on at Descendent Studios every week and what's our progress with the game. And we've made a lot of progress. It's been a very good week this week. But before we get to that, let's thank to our new backers and pledgers, those who have upgraded this week. We'll roll a little bit of people across the thing there. Thank you, Michael. Thank you guys very much. Special thanks to Big Triver, Iron Man, and Tanash for their exceptional pledges. Good word, Mike. And welcome to our new Undergrounders, Iron Man, Toast Gunner, Don Helgeland, and Taco. Anybody named Taco has got my vote. You like tacos, Mike? All right, there you go. Coming up today, the Week in Review. It's just not going to get old. We're going to beat that to the end of the ground. This week's most valuable post, the Build-A-Bot update for forum feedback with your questions and videos. Or actually, I think it's just your questions this week. And we have an interview with Todd Porter about his new Kickstarter tabletop game, NecroVirus, and that was pretty cool.
It's pretty
It's
cool.
getting a lot of... They didn't have a huge start in the Kickstarter, but everybody that sees it is blown away by what it can do. And so we'll kind of give you, and we're going to announce something new that they're releasing this week too. So it's pretty neat. Stay tuned for that.
Ooh.
Yep. So this week at Descendent Studios, we had an advisory board meeting.
We did.
Those are some of our most fervent pledgers and backers, and they are helping us make this game along with you guys, of course. But they get a little inside access. They got a meeting this week, and we got to discuss. Well, we discussed a lot of stuff this week.
A lot of stuff. A lot of very important stuff. They're really good. A good window into the gaming community directly.
Some old school Descent players. Yeah. They're actually helping us make. They're going to be testing this week. They're going to be playing the build. Playing the build, people. That's right. We have our first playable build, so I think by the time you guys are watching this, they will have played it. We're hoping to release it on Wednesday or Thursday. It depends on. We've got to make sure that these things are. I think we're waiting on the Tron ships, which you'll see a little bit later.
A few pieces in place. Yes.
Yeah. And if you want to get in and get an early version of the build, you need to join the Underground because you'll get access to the Proving Grounds there. And in the Underground, it's like, it's a subscription, it's a membership, it's not required, but it does help the dev team out a little bit, and it also gets you in before even alpha. So the way it'll work is advisory board gets it first, then it goes to the Proving Grounds, then it goes to alpha, beta, and then release. So that's kind of how all the maps are going to go, that's how all the weapons are going to go, that's how everything's going to go. So if you want to get in, join the Underground. We also have a big store update coming. Hopefully, by the time you watch this, it will have happened yesterday. But the chances of that... Michael, what are the chances of that? Yeah, okay, there you go. So we're trying really hard.
That's 12.
I know, is that 12? 12? Is it 12 as a chance?
The answer was 12.
So one of the guys who's helping us with the store transitions machine blew up, so he's in the process of trying to get that going and get that happening. So, but we're ready. The new store is going to allow people to kind of craft their own pledges. We'll get away from the Kickstarter style ones, and it'll be more about... so by the way, that means that if you are interested in buying multiple copies or something like that, now is the time to do it because it's going away. Right. We have a live stream coming up tomorrow on Thursday. We're going to live stream the playing of the game.
Oh.
Yeah. Hopefully we're live streaming with some of the advisory board members if that's happening. So by the time you see this is like a review of everything you probably have already seen in the last 2 days. Wow, we're not good. We also have new ships to show. One of the things we noticed was we started playing the game. You could hide your ship fairly easily.
Yeah, I was like playing Where's Waldo.
Yeah, the materials of the ship were very similar to the materials of the beams, and so it was easy to hide. And so we've added some colorization
for the team colors.
For the team colors, right? So this would be like the blue from the Panzer,
glowy Panzer,
glowy Panzer, and all those bright areas will change with the color of the team you're on.
This one's on the red team.
This one's on the red team. That's the Typhoon, and that is the Wasp, and the Wasp looks really good. What team would that be? Is that magenta or cyan or something?
Team.
The cool team?
That's the cool team.
That's the cool team. There you go. So that's your energy level, Rob. It's so high today. So I guess, you know what? Let's take a look at this week's Studio Snapshot.
Oh wow, look how it interacts with the mining blocks too. Phil has made our first recharge area. We've had a little fun with it.
Someone is charging.
Flying the Typhoon right now. Let's go try and find some people.
We need to get capture some screens.
Oh, mouse movement's a little too sensitive here. Way too sensitive.
I was cheating. Always fun to see the snapshots. You're in a couple of those this week, and
I've been busy.
you've been busy. It's fun. We kind of like to show you guys what's going on that week between the laser bolts that tumble and then some cool texturing. So it's fun. It's a way for us to share what's going on a week-to-week basis without having to watch like the whole 30-minute episode of Mike Morlan's speech. Mike Morlan's speech, ladies and gentlemen. Speech. Right. It's not going away. All right. So this week we also attended Game Fest, which is a classic, old-school gaming convention here in Austin, Texas. It's one of the largest ones, and we can pull up a couple images here. And so a good friend of mine actually had made Ed Fries. He used to work at Microsoft, and we worked together on Starlancer and some other stuff when I was at Digital Amble with Chris. He made a Halo game for the 2600. Like, he just made this a couple years ago. And so this was on display, and then the kids were able to get in there and play that. And there right there is Six Wing on the left, and then Winglet on the right. They're playing some old school games. And the reason this is interesting is that next year we're signed up to be at this show, and we're going to be letting people play LAN, old school Descent, and also obviously our new game. So that's gonna go like, we'll be there next year. And speaking of Winglet, he's in the office this week, and we put him to work. There you go. There's Winglet, and what's he doing? That's right. He's helping ship the T-shirts.
Coming soon
to a home near you.
Yeah.
And guess how much Winglet's being paid for this, Rob?
I'm gonna go with 0.
Yes, he's getting 0, but he does get to continue to live in the house.
That's a plus.
That's good. That's good. He did get his license this week, so if you're in Austin, Texas, drive extra careful.
Stay off the roads.
Yeah, I
entirely.
would definitely drive extra careful. So it's good that he's here this week. He's also testing the game. You'll see him in some of the live stream tomorrow and stuff like that.
Which
And
was
now,
yesterday.
yep. And now it's time for Keith McCormick with this week's Most Valuable Post.
Welcome to Most Valuable Post, where we celebrate someone who's made a positive contribution to the Descent Underground community. This week, we recognize somebody who not only made an immense contribution to the community, but to the game itself. This person really went into detail on the nitty-gritty of how to make the ships fly right and the experience of working in game design and the iterative process. And we really appreciated how that helped our community to understand that game design isn't just, oh, hey, it's gonna go that way and it's just perfect. There's a lot of hard work and a lot of math that's involved. So congratulations, Drakona. You're this week's Most Valuable Poster.
Wow, that's cool. Drakona wins again. That's her second win.
Thanks, Drakona.
She did a good job.
Very, very helpful and really an awesome person.
She is an awesome person. And Tom's pretty good. Tom and the shirt are both accepted and welcome here as well. You know what I'm talking about, Tom. So it's
They
cool.
can go
though.
to our China
But
buffet.
huh?
Our buffet palace anytime.
Yeah, they can come to the Austin Iconic Buffet Palace anytime they want. And you know what time it is now? It's time for...
It's time for forum feedback.
Oh, the ghost head. Forum feedback. Let's get right to it. From Sharktopus. When you hit the wall hard, does destroy damage your drone? Can you try to get your pursuer to crash into something like the speeder bike crash in Star Wars Return of the Jedi on the Moon Forest?
It will damage your ship slightly.
If you're bumping into walls
To
and stuff.
collide with things, including other ships.
You get a little... yeah.
I'm not sure how bad a pilot you'd have to be to crash into something, but
But,
hey, you
but
know.
isn't that kind of what the laser grid and the proximity mines are for?
Well,
anyway?
that certainly works.
Yeah, so I don't think we're really going to be running you into trees or something.
But I mean, in the first map that we did for the Kickstarter, where we had the little beams you had to duck under.
Yeah,
so I
true.
guess that would have worked, but it was not necessarily the most awesome place to fly.
Yeah. So yes, the walls will damage you.
Yes.
From Bless You, an undergrounder. Will the observer piggyback mode option be retained? Will it?
I'd like to do observers, but I mean, you have to avoid cheating. That's the downside.
That is the downside. Like if somebody dies early and they start jumping around telling people where they're, watch out around that corner and stuff. So that's a toughie.
We'll figure out something.
We're going to have observer. I think we'll allow people to observe. We'll figure something out. I know we want to do some sort of observation. You'll see some of that coming up in the next few videos. The next videos coming up soon. From Ethris, an undergrounder. Will there be rear-firing guns? And what's the difference between rear-firing guns, targeting via the rear view, versus flying backwards, driving via the rear view, to use the drone's primary weapon systems? Well, I guess if the
One's
first answer
harder.
is no, then
Yeah,
there's
no.
no need to answer the second
Well,
part.
at that point, the difference is that you can do the second one, but you can't do the first one, so that's the difference.
Is that accurate?
Well, I don't think we're gonna have rear-firing guns.
No. There's plans like way down in the future to possibly have some sort of turret option where people can man them.
That's phase 341.
Yeah, I think it's 342. I think you're one phase early.
We added one, didn't we?
Yeah.
So yeah, rear-firing guns not part of the plan.
Flying backwards you can,
Flying
though.
backwards, sure, why not?
If you're good enough.
You're good.
From AC Black, will the store have a Steam connection link where I can buy from Steam? Steam has Canadian prices on their storefront, simplifying exchange rates and saving money on prepaid card fees. So I don't know. That's a tough one because you are going to go through Steam for unlocking some packages and stuff. I'm not sure how we're going to do, or unlocking a new version of the game, and everybody that's obviously backed will just give you a key. I'm not sure how. I don't know. I mean, we have to look at their system, how it integrates with ours, how the persistence works, because we keep track of the account data, what you have in your store versus not. So that's a good question, and it's something we'll have to look at. And as soon as we get the store finished, we'll probably dig into that. So it'd be great to have all these answers up front, but we thought it was important to say we don't know, yet, but it makes sense. From Vex, Bouguet. The different ships you can fly in Descent 3 have unique HUDs and reticles. Are there similar concepts for the HUD in Descent Underground to see what ship you're flying? How about a spinning reticle for the Typhoon? Well, we actually are going to have this Typhoon spinning in the. You're going to see it in the HUD.
Well, there are friendly little icons at the top,
Yeah.
showing what ship you're in. But yeah, it would be good to have the HUDs maybe slightly differentiated,
Yeah.
be something what ship you're in.
But it's one of those things that will be more closer to release than, so people will be playing it much earlier than this and probably all enjoying the same HUD. At least the colors will change. But so and don't forget we have 9 ships. 9. So
It's a lot.
do we have 9? We have 9, right?
We have none.
We have
Well,
okay.
technically we have 7, but
Oh,
soon
right.
we're gonna have an 8th
The
one.
torch
and
isn't
then we're gonna
unlocked.
have a 9th
The
one.
funny thing about the torch is, if people don't get it once it's at 650, it's unlocked. It's going away. So we'll have like something comparable that the other people can have, but they won't have the torch.
Not the super special torch.
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
super special torch. So you got time. There's still time. From I guess that's kind of like an exclusive item. We really wanted to cut it off before the end of the Kickstarter, but we figured since it wasn't unlocked, we might as well continue on. From Def Flux, an undergrounder. Can the Proving Grounds be played single player or will it be multiplayer only? Will there be one or more servers to use to play multiplayer? So basically he's asking you'll be able to fly through the map single player, by yourself, but there's no bots or AI in there right now. It's primarily to balance multiplayer.
Eventually, we'll probably put some single-player maps in the Proving Grounds.
100%. Well, that's exactly. It'll go through the process. So single player will come after we get multiplayer balance, but we do have plans for it. And will there be multiple servers to play multiplayer? Maybe. This is one of the reasons we're testing with the advisory board right now. I think we're trying to figure out how many instances we can host on one server.
Yeah, get our infrastructure in place.
Right, trying to find out where to place those servers, because until we have the actual system in place which spins up servers dynamically, we'll be hosting our own servers in different various locations around the world. And that's just, that spinning up dynamically will be once the game ships. The early version for you guys to play will have, the best we can do right now. So it's only 3.5 months in. So those things, I think it took us about 1.5 years to get that up at Star Citizen, and we'll be a little better than that.
We've been moving pretty fast.
Another one from Vex. Are there flares in Descent Underground, and are they still lethal?
Should we answer a second question by the same person? I just feel like maybe we should boycott this question.
Should we boycott a question?
Yeah, it's like, no. We are planning on having flares.
Yeah.
Lethal? Not super lethal.
Wow.
I mean, flare lethal.
They're flare. Descent flare. Go. All right. That is the end of forum feedback, is what it says on here. And now it's time for more Keith.
He's everywhere.
I know.
Hi, Keith Dunkelzaw McCormick here for Descent Underground's Build-A-Bot competition, where you have a chance to create a bot that'll go in the game. This week, we finished up Stage 2 of the Design Path competition, in which we asked people to create a backstory for the bot. So congratulations, Shogun. You're the winner of Stage 2 Design. We're now going to be moving on to Stage 3, where people name the bot. So get on our forums, go to this link right here, get all the info about Build-A-Bot, get your name in, and you know what? Get into the discussions too, because you get points for giving feedback on other people's ideas, constructive feedback. And whoever has the most points at the end of Build-A-Bot is getting this thing. So definitely go right here, get in the game, and also start thinking about textures, because pretty soon we're moving into Stage 4 of the Art Path competition as well.
Wow, I love it. The Build-A-Bot thing's taken off.
Good job with that lore, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We're having fun with that.
Keep
we've got some more contests coming up, map making and other things happening. We really want to get the community involved in these kind of things. I know, some of these things are very technical, and so they'll have smaller people doing it, but then others will be easier for people to do. Good friend of mine, Todd Porter, is doing a Kickstarter, and so I invited him down to show me what he's up to. Hello, everybody. We're here with my good friend, Todd Porter, and he's also a fellow Kickstartian, right? You've got one going on right now, and man, it looks badass. What is this?
This is NecroVirus here. This is what we're actually kickstarting. NecroVirus is a fully 3D printed board game.
Wow.
So everything you see here is available on our Kickstarter. You can actually get all this plastic plus the pieces, which are, well, I'll show you the pieces later, but all of this for $250 backer level.
Right.
And then
and this usually costs. I mean, if I'm a board gamer, this is like $500 or $600 usually, or this piece alone would be $150.
Yeah, I mean that's typically what you see in a lot of these things that you're trying to buy. And when we looked at the technology, we wanted to actually create something that allowed us as gamers to not only be able to bring the cost of the pieces down, but actually create our own pieces, be creative.
Oh, wow, cool.
And so, what's cool about this is that we have these Secure Connect boards, and the boards themselves, when you plug the bases in, the actual buildings keep the board so that you can actually move the entire board together.
Look at that.
So you don't have to, when you're rolling, if you have people with big hands, they're not, ruining the game session.
Right. And the old Risk game we used to play where you roll the dice across
and
and armies would go flying.
Exactly. Well, you can still knock the zombies over, but this helps a significant amount. But also the game, you configure the game before you play, and the missions tell you how to configure the map. So it really is very interactive. The gameplay is very fast-paced. We've had a really good, at every show we've been at this year, we've had people waiting in line to play the game. So we're very pleased with that. So this is NecroVirus, and then over here we're going to be announcing this week.
Well, you're kind of announcing it right now.
Yeah, exactly, right? So this is our Boardcraft Fantasy Dungeon series, and this is also all 3D printed. This is 15 millimeter, and this is 28 millimeter heroic scale.
On.
So you can see we've got some Dungeons & Dragons pieces in here. This is for use in a fantasy role-playing environment. I'm not going to obviously say it's just for Dungeons & Dragons.
No. But you know, the point is you can use it for that. And
you can use it for any of your fantasy role-playing is all I think my attorneys are allowed
Well,
to say.
but they're not watching the show anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But what's neat about this is we had a lot of requests at the shows for, hey, do you have anything for 28 millimeter? And we're like, well, yeah, we do, but we're every week we're announcing new things. Mm-hmm. What's cool about both of these is that if you put in as little as $50, you'll get the digital models for everything we announced during the Kickstarter.
So you could 3D
campaign.
print your own pieces.
Yeah, and people say, well, 3D printing, is it really costly? Is it really expensive? But you take an average piece. I mean, the Cathedral is about $3.50 to print.
And that's amazing. And these people are selling $150. And
well, the fact is that in the traditional business environment, you have to create a mold. Molds are expensive.
Right. Oh, that's right. True.
So what 3D printing gives us is a non-mold solution to print out these massive objects. In fact, we have a version of this that is actually 28 millimeter, and the Cathedral itself is about this big. So,
wow.
And it's also full color 3D printed. We didn't offer it because when we started looking at shipping costs, it's sandstone, it's heavy as hell. It would have cost us a fortune to ship it. So we decided against that. But every week on the Kickstarter, our backers should be looking because every single week we're going to be introducing new sets. And I can tell you there's going to be an introduction a week from now of another new set. Of course, if you're in at the $50 pledge level, you'll get the digital models for everything because that's really the point of Boardcraft. So NecroVirus.
So Boardcraft's a little different. This is the game, the two games printed with Boardcraft. What is Boardcraft?
So Boardcraft is really what we're kickstarting for.
Right.
So
okay.
It's a collection of tools that I built over the years. It's called Toy Chest in-house, but Boardcraft is going to be a tool that allows consumers to drag and drop and create their own board games. They can literally choose a genre and they can say, okay, I'm going to mix Civil War with zombies.
Wow.
And they just drag the pieces over and then they say print, and Boardcraft handles either printing to their printer with the proper profiles and everything set up, or it can print to one of our services, and it's an ecosystem.
That makes sense.
And also, if you're an artist, we'll create a store on our site and people can buy pieces from you.
See, that's a big deal. That's a big deal here too, is community involvement. So you're looking to build the community, empower them, and let them grow your product or grow all your products together at the same time.
Yeah,
that's unique.
And then so what we're doing with this is that we are going to every week introduce new genres to the ecosystem because kind of kickstart give it a push that hey, look, we literally are going to, and the genre is going to be completely different.
Right. So these guys, the first week was zombies, right? So this is zombie apocalypse, and then now we're going into fantasy, right? And then you'll announce later what the other ones will be.
Yeah,
too.
and
there's a lot of people that play these things, but play different genres.
Yeah, and so what we've done is we've taken the top 6 genres that are played by tabletop gamers.
Right.
And we've said we're going to make product for that because even at the show at QuakeCon, people are still doing, Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder in the old-fashioned way with a felt pen.
Wow, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we have interior tiles, but we also have exterior buildings and streams and hollows and rivers.
Right.
And the old idea is once the ecosystem gets big enough, people will be able to say, hey, you bring over your terrain, I'll bring over my rivers, he'll bring over his dungeons, you bring over the medieval town, and we can create this massive board because these Secure Connect boards, you can just keep adding to them.
Right.
And we've made them so they print fast, they're not expensive to produce, so on a filament cost level, it's pennies.
Right.
Again, you take a look at a dungeon wall that we have here. The dungeon walls for us cost about, I think they're 8 or 9 cents. Mm-hmm. So they're very inexpensive. It's a time thing, So you spend like this. It takes about 9.5 hours to do. Well, that would be a problem if you had to sit there and watch it, but you don't. What we do is you set it up for printing at 10 o'clock at night, and when you get up for your coffee at 7 in the morning, the model's finished.
That's nice.
And by the way, we're at the early stages. They just are introducing speed ups every day. Like the printer we printed this on at 9.5 hours is 100 millimeters per second printer. Well, they just introduced a 300 millimeters per second printer, which means it's three times faster, which means now this is 3 hours for, you know. So we know, and then full color plastics are coming. Right. So what we want to do though is give the gamers an operating system in which all their stuff works together and plugs together in anticipation of this massive shift once printers really hit that kind of mass market level.
The cool thing for me is, I mean, you know, like everybody, I grew up playing D&D, and I think you and I probably played D&D back in the day together. Yeah. And so, but it was always like on graph paper or all, you know, those kind of things. And this right here, literally, you could game master this thing up and create scenarios, and then you could hide it, you know, cover it up and explore it as you go. This is pretty stinking amazing stuff.
Yeah, and we've got, like I was saying,
got to be some World War II tanks coming at some point, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we've got a lot of genres that we're working on right now that will be released, like I said, every week.
Right.
But I think, you know, the key thing is that the immersive ability of gaming like this is like nothing else, and we see that when people play this, they play NecroVirus at our conventions. We have them. Literally, we get there at 10 o'clock, and there's been a line forming, you know, and I think what happens is people are, you don't know what it's like until you have to look around things. You
got line of sight. You got all kinds of.
You don't know where the zombies are. It's kind of ramps up the scariness.
You've got some pieces here too, right? I want to bring the pieces in. I want the mission. People should see the mission.
I don't know where we get the mission thing.
The mission.
Yeah,
it's not in here.
But I'll find it.
Okay, that's all right.
But I may be outside. So,
it's the kind of show.
So this is these are the pieces, and again, everything but except for the cards are 3D printed. So all the little chits that you use in the game, instead of using cardboard chits, we 3D print them.
He said chits.
Yeah, chits. C-H-I-T-S. Chits. Yeah.
Don't want to get the chits.
But we've even 3D printed the characters, and what we were amazed by is even on a 100-micron printer, which is a mass market consumer printer.
That thing, man.
Yeah, and if you look at, like, you have a guy here with 2 guns. I mean, you can actually see the detail.
That's nice.
Even though this is printed, so, and this is, you can imagine a 20-micron printer is 5 times more the resolution. So all of this can be printed. We do some fun things like our turn button is 3D printed, and you can basically play the game from the turn button. So I mean, there's just a lot to this. For the $250, you get this entire set. You get the cards, you get the rules, you get everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal. Now, you're on Kickstarter right now, right?
Yes, we're on Kickstarter.
Mike, in his ever-present wisdom, will put up the Kickstarter thing right in here, right, Mike? A link to that? And yes, there it goes. I'm assuming it's already there. We can't see it because we're not that...
I think that, it's a hard thing for people to get their mind around. And people always ask me, well, why did you Kickstarter for a board game for an engine? And I said, well, because if I went out and Kickstarted for a tool, and I said to you, oh, it's going to build this great thing, you'd have gone, well, I'm going to Kickstart to put all this money in, then maybe you're going to make a tool that will create something.
Yeah.
So I said, we need to create the thing first,
right,
and then build the tool. And that's what we did.
And you did, and it's pretty amazing. And you've thoroughly play tested this. You've had lots of play sessions.
We have had, the game's been in development for almost 1 year and 3/4. So, and our developers are guys who've been building games for 50 years. When I say 50 years, I mean literally 50 years.
Wow. They
used to game with Gygax and Arnson. So these guys go way back. They're gray-haired 65-year-old men who just know everything about tabletop gaming, and that's one of the reasons I think NecroVirus has hit a chord with our gamers all around the country, is that literally it is a fun game to play. And what's funny about that?
That's all that matters, really.
So I have to tell you, we have 2 guys in a beat-up van that are traveling from store to store to actually go to the game stores and play this. And so they just made a circuit through Texas, and now they're up in Nashville tonight, and then they'll be in Indianapolis.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And these guys, and
you are filming that, right?
Yeah. Well, they have their own show.
Good.
It happens to be, I think it's Mr. Technology and his nephew.
Okay.
And there's a lot of funny.
Check it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny shows because it's my brother and my nephew.
Okay.
And my nephew's like 6'5", but my brother still treats him like he's 6. So they had one of their shows. They were standing in line at Thomas the Tank Engine. And you see they're panning across, and you see Ryan above all the other kids just standing there, giant form. But this has really helped with our groundswell too, to show people that look, we're willing to come to your place and actually play the game.
Well, I think that's it, isn't it? I mean, so and things like this, we at Wingman's Hangar, we want to support you. You and I have been friends for long time.
Yeah.
I think didn't you kick me out of your apartment once in Risk? I got kicked out. We should tell that story. So we were playing Risk. Todd goes to the bathroom. I go get a soda out of the fridge, and we're playing with Chris Roberts and Phil Miller. And Phil Miller moved some of my armies. Now, you and I were landlocked between Kamchatka and Alaska, and you got mad at me because armies were missing, and I didn't know anything about it.
Yes,
so we had this big blow-up, dust-up fight, of course, because it's a gamer thing. And then Phil Miller told us 7 years later that he took those armies.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we were sitting at dinner, I think, in England.
Yes.
And he was laughing and saying, "What?" We said, "You guys never realized I was the one that
took the armies," and it was thanks, Phil. Anyway, we wish you luck with your Kickstarter. We'll be following along. Michael put the thing up there again, and Todd Porter, NecroVirus, and Boardcraft, right?
Boardcraft Fantasy Dungeon Series.
All right, cool. Looks great. Wow, that is really cool. That whole set, being able to print pieces.
Really awesome.
I mean, it's fun. It's fantastic. I mean, I think their Kickstarter needs a little kickstart. So if you guys like playing tabletop games, or you know somebody that does, point them in that direction. They've got a really neat product. The fact that those pieces, I think they're kind of disruptive to that industry right now, because you spend like $100 for a big cathedral, and there you're going to spend like $5. And so it's probably he's kind of like the Elon Musk of the tabletop world, I guess. You know.
I can have all the toys.
Well, yeah. So cool. Michael, I think that's pretty much.
Hey, Michael, isn't there something we're missing here? I think that means it's time for Wingman's Weight.
Oh, is it now?
I think it is.
All right. Last week, where were we? We were at 240 pounds. This week, we're at 241 pounds. I know. I gotta get out walking.
Disapproving look.
I know. Disapproving look.
Disapproving look.
Slash me hits Wingman with a trout. You know, yeah. We'll work on it. We're getting there. 241 for those of you in the ship with me. You know, come on.
There's not enough room in the ship anymore.
There's not enough room in the ship. The ship's sinking. Thank God it's saltwater. I'll float along. Coming up this week at Descendent Studios, we have lots and lots of testing and more map building. Advisory board is play testing, as we said earlier. We are still developing the Proving Grounds, how that's all going to work, and the advisory board's helping us they're kind of like the beta of the Proving Grounds, to be honest with you. We'll also be working on quad lasers. We'll start working on how we're going to match make, that's probably going to be a long process. So when we first launch the game on Steam, or we launch it Proving Grounds, it's just going to throw the next 8 people in the room or whatever. So it'll be friends and things like that will not be right away. The matchmaking will be more robust as we go. And we're doing Steam early release planning because we want to build this pool into more people. We want to get thousands and thousands of people playing this game. And we have a pretty interesting game type. We have Anarchy will be first, and then there'll be a team-based one that we're not going to really talk about right now. I think it's got to be seen to believed. All right, thank you very much to our undergrounders and our backers. Without you guys, without your pledging, without you believing in what we're doing, we wouldn't be doing it. So we thank you guys very, very much. Join our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter pages to find out the latest and greatest of what's going on. Find out when the Rob Irving show, starring Rob Irving and featuring Rob Irving, is going to be played on Mondays. I always love those things. Submit your forum feedback questions on our forums.
It's a good place for them.
And we will see you all underground.